are recapping Indian Wells, the unofficial fifth major, and so happy to welcome on a friend of the podcast. You watch him on the Game to Love tennis podcast. Ben Robinson, so happy to have you back on.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a fantastic tournament. As you can see, my background, I'm still celebrating Jack Draper's first Masters win.
Jack Draper defeating Holger Rune in clean, convincing fashion, 6-2, 6-2, to win his first career Masters 1000 title. And I look back at how I was viewing this tournament going in, about a couple weeks ago, and decidedly thinking Carlos Alcaraz was maybe the favorite to win with Jannik Sinner on the sidelines, but also realizing I think without Jannik Sinner, the ATP has become much more of an open field. And we saw that here. And Jack Draper, who'd been playing great tennis, as you know, the other week in Doha, making a final, to see him back this up and play such fantastic tennis, charge inside the top 10. I mean, I thought he had potential to reach the top 10 this season. He's already number 7. I really think the sky is the limit for this guy.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air for us in the UK. Obviously, no Andy Murray anymore. We've been just waiting for somebody to sort of take it up. And Jack Draper has been that guy who's been on the come up, but we haven't really got to see him perform like big for up until the last year, really. He's started to put in those big performances now. We saw that semi-final at the US Open. I thought that was really special. He showed grit and determination to actually grind out, even though he was losing, to just pushed his body a little bit more. That was the one problem that we had with him, is he just seemed to, his body gave up. And now we're starting to see a stronger side to him. We're starting to see a confidence coming out of Jack Draper. And it's given me confidence. I was just wondering, like, is he going to be another one of those run-of-the-mill ones who's just sort of, he wins a few here, he wins a few there, but he never really wins anything big. Now he's proven he could be in the mix with the likes of your Alcaraz's, Sinners. I can't wait for Sinner to get back on tour, to be honest. I want to see him play Jannik Sinner with this new, like, scene confidence that he's got.
Yeah, and look, this was not, I mentioned maybe the tour is a little more volatile with Sinner off the tour, but this was not like a walk in the park type of draw whatsoever for Jack Draper. He had to work for this title and work for it hard. I mean, even early, facing the talent in João Fonseca and taking care of him handily, gets the huge win over Taylor Fritz. That quarterfinal against Ben Shelton, I was particularly excited just to watch two sort of young, fast rising left-handers who are kind of in this similar sort of parts of their career, early stages, both, brimming with power and potential. And Draper to win that in straight sets. And then I thought the match with Alcaraz was a bit unusual because you never felt like Alcaraz was really tapping into his best level. Jack Draper in that match was even up and down, but seeing maybe the mental resiliency and fortitude, that side of his game, to rebound after a bad second set and take hold in the third and get into that final was I think a huge step forward for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at that third set saying that the double bounce, that controversy around it is going to be the main takeaway from that and how it may have unsettled Alcaraz. I don't think it really played too much of a factor. I think that the right person won the point, really, because if nothing had been said, we could say if he'd never got involved with that point, then Jack Draper won the point, essentially. So I think he did well to go off court after getting bageled, to come back on again and look fresh again and was ready for the challenge against Alcaraz. Alcaraz wasn't his best. No, I don't think he was, but he was nervous. And that's the one thing that you get from Alcaraz that you don't really get from Jannik Sinner, is he does get nervous sometimes. I mean, Jannik Sinner, I'm waiting for that to happen to him, but he just seems like a machine at the moment. Never loses, just seems to beat everybody with ease. And I think that him being off the tour at the moment might be the best thing that's happened, really, to the tour in some time, because he's so dominant. This might give everyone a chance to start catch up a little bit. His level may drop when he comes back, not as much match play, and now everybody else has had high level match play. it may balance out a little bit. We may see somebody actually finally challenge him.
Well, I was gonna ask you about that with Sinner off the tour. Maybe how does that change the complexion of things? And then I look at the top 10, and I mean some of these guys, we have some moving in an upwards trajectory, like Jack Draper here moving up to number 7. Alexander Zverev has done virtually nothing since the Australian Open. You think he was world number 2? Maybe there's an opportunity to close the gap and get closer to number 1. He's moving in the opposite direction, it seems like, loses to Greek Spoor early in Indian Wells. Alcaraz unable to defend the title at Indian Wells, so he loses points as well. Daniil Medvedev has dropped a couple spots to eighth now, which I mean it's rare to see an 8 next to his name. And Novak Djokovic continues to struggle. So it seems like maybe prime opportunity for some new faces like a Draper and maybe a Holger Rune who's finally getting back on track again.
Yeah, I think that there's room for other people to step up. I think you've hit the nail on the head there with some of those names who we would expect in this hard court swing to actually do quite well. Like Zverev, he's completely thrown it all away. I'm not sure what's happened to him after that final. I think he's lost all of his confidence, or he's had something that's lost on the court. It's sort of like the Djokovic thing where he takes your soul. I think Sinner took his in that final,
Maybe.
and now he's going to have to take a little bit of time to get back to that high level. I don't doubt that he'll get back to getting to a final of a slam probably again. He's that good, Zverev, but he's just lacking confidence. But I think that there's a chance that we could see somebody else. Like, I don't even know if it's Holger Rune. He fills me with confidence one day, and then the next day he just looks flat and doesn't look like he can compete. I think we might see somebody new come through. You've got like Thomas Mahatches, you've got other players who are playing maybe more consistently on the tour. Alex de Minaur is another one who I've been sort of singing the praises of a lot. I think he's very consistent, and that's the one thing for Alex de Minaur. If you're that consistent and other players are so up and down, you see yourself with just a gradual trajectory. I had him finishing the year at number 5, so I've gone quite big on him this year. But I think it's more the decline of other players that's seen me put him a bit higher up.
Yeah, it pays to be consistent. Being regularly in quarterfinals and semifinals, each and every week, week after week, is going to pay dividends more so in the rankings that if you make a final one week and then you lose second round twice in a row. I'll give a shout out to one name that my co-host Mike McIntyre was high on at the front end of the year. I thought he played great and really could have beaten Daniil Medvedev in their quarterfinal was Arthur Fils. And now he's, inside the top 20 at 18. Really athletic player, moves great on the court, good firepower. He seems like a very steady all-court player. Maybe with the clay swing coming up, I feel like his game will translate there. Maybe he's someone who can start knocking on the door and getting closer to that top 10.
A very, very good choice. Yes, definitely somebody. 18 in the world. He's gone up 3 places, broken the top 20. If all of those players above him keep stumbling, he's definitely got an opportunity. I think Ben Shelton, this is a massive opportunity for him as well. I thought, well, I think personally, out of all of the players that you see play Yannick Sinner, Ben Shelton's the one who actually excites me the most when I've seen him play Yannick Sinner. I think his game, he's so powerful. Even though he loses to Yannick Sinner, I see Sinner physically tested against Ben Shelton. When we saw them play last, I thought, wow, he's actually taking the match to Yannick Sinner. No one does that. They just get bullied around the court. That's what I'm hoping. I saw that blueprint from from Shelton. I think Jack Draper can use that exact same blueprint now, but maybe with some more skill, better, more accurate serving. And I think he has more confidence as well, Jack Draper. I think Ben Shelton, a little bit erratic, plays up to the crowd a bit too much. I think Draper's very cool, calm, collected, doesn't really play up to the crowd that much. And that's similar to a Yannick Sinner. Doesn't really show his emotions on the court. I think it helps in this day and age.
Yeah, and look, you can see, I think, with the confidence in Jack Draper, how early he was taking the ball in that final against Holger Rune, who Rune maybe he was playing a bit too defensively, but it felt like for the bulk of that match, it was just on Draper's racket. He was dictating play. He was controlling the court with that heavy lefty forehand. And look, Indian Wells, quite different conditions with the air. I was quite windy. I think the ball was moving a little more slowly. A lot of players reported. Miami, we know, changes a bit as we look at the Miami Open. I mean, who are you maybe looking at as potential favorites to make noise there?
Wow. My first person I'm looking towards at the moment is Jack Draper. I know that it's a difficult thing to win back-to-back Masters events, especially on the men's side, I think, as well. But I think he's just got confidence right now. I've seen the draw that's come out. We're going to be putting out a video just reacting to it. And I think his draw, I haven't seen it all, but I've seen whose section he's in, and he's in Zverev's section. And if I could have picked any big player for him to be against right now, it'd be Zverev. So I think he can use this momentum at the moment. I don't think any of those matches during Indian Wells really took it out of him. He won straight sets other than the Alcaraz match, and the Alcaraz match was pretty much a 2-set time limit, really. It was a one, what was it, 6-1, love 6. That's pretty much
6-4.
the same as a normal set, really. So yeah, I don't think he's really been pushed. And I think that's credit to him. He's played some great players, but he's got it done in quite a quick time.
Yeah, he has, and I think he plays quickly too. So, if his body holds up, and that's what went wrong at the front end of the year in Australia, his body finally broke down in the fourth round against Carlos. So for him to
Yeah.
avenge that loss the way he did, and win the biggest title of his career, so impressive.
Thank you guys so much for watching us at Matchpoint Canada. If you like our work, follow along, hit the subscribe button below.